Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk a little bit about sources of your real estate business. For those of you who've been in my class before, you'll know we've talked about that. But for those who haven't, and for even for those who have heard it before, it's a good refresher. All right, so these are the common sources. Now, don't get me wrong; you can get real estate business really anywhere you go, but these are the common sources. All right, so number one, a FSBO. Oh my goodness, FSBOs are jumping up in the air. They're putting a sign. Most people are searching everywhere for sellers. These people put a sign in their yard saying, hey, I want to sell my house. And you can read study after study after study that show that a majority of them end up listing with an agent. The question would be whether it would be you or not. And of course, it's going to be determined on how much time and energy you put into developing a relationship and providing information to these for sale by owners. So again, for sale by owners are a perfect opportunity to develop a relationship with and ultimately get their business. I can't tell you how many times I've called for sale by owners and they'll tell me, oh, you should have called me 2 hours ago. I just listed with an agent. Really ticked me off, but at least I made the call, and that was the most important thing. A lot of people get their business from for sale by owners. It is not the largest percentage of the typical real estate agent, but I would say that it's because a majority of people are too timid and they're too shy, they're too scared of being rejected to even bother to pick up the phone and try. And it's very sad because I look at myself as a service provider. You guys should be looking at yourself as a service provider. This person needs our help. The good thing about our company is we allow fee for service. So even if you just say to them, hey, I just want to let you know what our company does offer, what we call fee for service. Basically, I'll put your house on the MLS, give you a sign and lockbox if you want them, and we charge a flat fee for that. And the good news is if in the future you decide you need contract help or any advice or anything about the process, you can always come back to me. And if you decide to list eventually, then we can reimburse your money at closing. So this is a good opportunity to get your foot in the door. For sale by owners need us because they need the MLS. I know Zillow has helped, but most real estate agent buyers, I should say, buyers work with a real estate agent. So if that's the case, I typically usually just start calling the for sale by owner and asking them, are they working with buyer agents? So if I had a buyer, are they willing to pay the buyer's agent fee? Now you're halfway there. And at that point, you can either schedule an appointment to meet with them. We do have a lot of investors in our company, so please always get out there and tell them that you have a potential buyer. You'd like to take a look at it, run some numbers. My first question to them is always, how much do you want for the house? And then I always say, well, my investors I know are going to offer less than that, but I want you to keep my name and number. And if you get into a situation where you really need an offer on the house, please call me because I'm already telling you I have buyers, and that is 100% fact. Okay, so just keep that in mind and don't be scared. You've got to, if you want to succeed in this business, you're going to have to be willing to take the risk. Who cares if they tell you they're not interested in your services? So what? Boo hoo. Don't cry about it. Move on to the next one. And the most important thing is to make a relationship. The next one, guys, is expireds. Expireds are a huge opportunity. These people put their house on the market and it didn't sell for whatever reason. It always doesn't sell because of 3 reasons: price, condition, or marketing. It's one of the 3. I typically would pick up the phone. If I were you, I'd be picking up the phone every day and calling a few expireds. You say to them, your house has gone off the market. Are you still interested in selling your house? And they're going to say, oh, it went off the market, because most of them don't even know. And then you would say, yeah, it went off the market. And there's a lot of buyers out there that are still interested in purchasing it. So you didn't even know your house went off the market. Do you know why your house didn't sell? They'll typically rant and rave about how they hate their realtor. Just listen. And then you can just say to them, listen, most houses don't sell for one of 3 reasons. If you give me 10 minutes, I'll be able to tell you exactly what that is. What time are you available? Can I stop by and meet with you? At that point, they're going to say either yes, or they could say no, that they're planning to relist with their realtor, and that's fine too. That's great. Then you just move on to the next. But there's going to be a lot of them that complain about their realtor, and that's your foot in the door. So then you meet with them, and quickly you'll usually be able to tell whether it's price, condition, marketing. Personally, I manage to always get them to reduce their price. That's my goal. And of course, I explain to them that buyers nowadays are really picky, and they're really wanting, the condition to be really clean. So we can put together a marketing plan. Are you ready to relist it? That's great. Let's go ahead and, do you have any questions before we fill out the paperwork? At that point, I'd get them listed. Okay, so FSBOs expired. Farms. A lot of agents nowadays try to establish a farm, and what that is I'm just sending valuable information as well as demonstrating that I'm a professional to this one neighborhood over and over and over again. Some of these neighborhoods, it takes years for you to break into. Now, if it's a neighborhood that already has a lot of agents in it, it might not be worth your time focusing on, okay? But if there is no agents, primary agent in that particular neighborhood, don't think for 1 minute that a farm is immediate business. A majority of the time, farms take years. You're establishing a relationship via mail, which is the worst way to establish a relationship with somebody, okay? You're establishing a relationship via mail. And the most important thing, once again, is you have to have bait in there. You better be advertising your listings, because when you're advertising the listings, that's showing that you're a professional, that someone else trusted you with their house, and look, you got it sold. So when they are ready to sell their house or buy a new house in the next 10 years, as long as you continue to market them, they'll realize that you're still a professional that's available to them. Again, once you start a farm, you cannot stop, or you wasted all your money. My suggestion for a farm is 3 times, 4 times a year. Always make sure it has houses in it. If you want to do the newsletters, you can, and just make sure that you have the hot list in it. My suggestion for a farm really would be just listed and just sold postcards. Those are the best things, and I would use the multiple house template. That way, or similar to the hot sheet, but the postcard version of a hot sheet is really the best way to get your farms going. And if you're just working with one, don't forget it. This is not immediate business. This is tomorrow's business, okay? So it's very, very important. Your next is SOI. Your SOI is your fans, your family, your friends, your past clients, your coworkers, your everybody in the whole wide world that knows you personally. All the networking groups that you attend, those are the ones that, that's where you're going to be getting your SOI. So you want to market to your SOI. A lot of times people say to me, why would I market to my family and friends? Guys, they're your number one. They're the people who are going to tell people about you, but they're never going to tell anybody about you unless they know that you're a professional, because they're scared. If they refer you and you do a bad job, they're going to look bad. So you have to show them you're a professional too. And that is always talking about real estate. I tell people the passive way really is to wear your name badge. And, when people ask you how the market is, you always want to stay positive. You want to send them the newsletter with the hot sheet in there too, so it shows that you have listings. Then they know you're doing good and they have confidence in you. They're more likely to refer you at that point. The next reason, that SOI wouldn't refer you is if you didn't ask for it. People don't know you need help. People don't know. The majority of Americans work at a 9-to-5 job. They don't own their own business, and they have no idea. Even business owners that own a store, they have no idea about the referral, working by referral. It's only a very tiny population that understands that you need a referral. Okay, those percentages are so low that you would never make a dime if you depended on it. So you need to ask, you need to train your friends and family to help you and your business grow. You do so in lots of different ways. The newsletters have a little paragraph that thanks everyone for building your business. At the end of the year, I like to send the end of the year cards with thank you so much for supporting my business this year. Your support means the world to my family. My business has grown because of all your referrals. Now I'm thanking them, but I'm also asking them. I love to use the little thanks for your referrals, or I really love referrals, or the biggest compliment I can receive is a referral from you. Those type of little signature lines in your emails, stickers on your envelopes, any mail piece you have should say that on there. This is what trains people to refer you. If you don't ask, you don't receive. Period. Final. End of it. Okay, and the last one I have here, well, I have another one, but we'll go with ads. These are the ones that you're going to see as the common. Advertising of every source. You've got your, your Zillow, your Homes, those are all your online sources. You also have your conventional, which is all print method. You've got your Washington Post, which not a lot of people use anymore. However, it does still work. So advertising. The last one I'm going to put on here anyway is a niche. You really should have a niche. That doesn't mean that you can't work in other areas, but like for instance, my specialty is short sales. Your specialty may be first-time home buyers. And someone else's specialty may be military families. Everyone needs to have a niche because people will know you are the specialist for that area. And they will come to you and refer to you. That doesn't mean that you can't help other people. It just means that you are looked at and perceived as a specialist with these. There's niches of seniors, for relocation. We can keep going on and on with the different niches. You need to find who most best relates to you and who you most best relate to. And at that point, you become a self-proclaimed specialist in that area. All right. Now, guys, of all of these, there's one that, according to all stats, say that you're going to make the most money at. And that's right here, your SOI. According to Northern Virginia Association, National Association, 60 to 70%, some areas will even report higher. This is where your business comes from. Okay, this is where a majority of your business comes from. So while all of these other ones are wonderful, this is where a big majority of your business comes from. And I'm going to tell you a couple reasons why. These are what we call warm leads. These are all cold leads, okay? Cold leads don't know you. They don't know anything about you. They don't know if they trust you. Now, if you have a lot of Google content and they can search on the internet and find you, then suddenly they think you're somebody. So that helps convert a cold to a warm lead. Okay, I myself have had people tell me they've seen my videos and they saw my videos, they felt a connection there, they felt like they could trust me or whatever. And if that's the case, maybe you should be creating more videos and making sure you have an online presence because that makes you a real person, just in case you didn't know in today's society. Okay, but other than that, they're cold leads. They don't know who you are. There's nothing that makes you different from the rest. This group right here, they are warm leads. Why? Because someone told them about you. They know you personally. So they're always going to convert so much higher than these. Why? Because they already know you're the realtor they want. These people don't really know you. They're not really sure who you are. So any other realtor could come in and scoop them up. Let's just put it that way. There's no loyalty going on because they don't even know you. Okay? Your job, of course, is to develop that relationship as quickly as possible. And a majority of the agents go wrong by not following up with these as often as they should. In fact, let me find my little, where did I do with it? Oops, I'm going the wrong way here. Here we go. All right, so I found some websites, just a few, just to make my point once again. All right, so let's read this real quick. The statistics are for visitors to lead conversion is a bit easier to track. When looking at closings, it's really a crapshoot since no two agents are the same. No two agents are the same. So what makes you different than us? If an agent aggressively works a lead over the entire life cycle, that means more than one call, guys, then they are going to convert at a much higher, again, are we listening? At a much higher rate than their competition. Unfortunately, this industry has taught agents to ignore the basic sales principle of pipelines and to only pursue immediate business, and it's an unfortunate course of action. We tell agents that if they work their leads, they should look at a minimum of 1 to 2 closed transactions per 1,000 visitors. That doesn't sound too good, right? But when you run the numbers, it makes sense. Look at this. If you buy 1,000 visitors at $2 per visit for a cost of $2,000, if you close one, just one of those buyers, which is a ridiculously low conversion rate, that's a $250,000 house, 3% commission, $7,500 after all the splits. Uncle Sam, everybody else, you're still in the black. That's only if you close one. Imagine if you close more, and you should be able to close more with the scripts that we've told you, the bait that we give you to say to them. Right here, guys, here's it. All right, let's go over here. Okay, let me go over this one. That one, I'll get to that one. This is another website altogether. Guys, I can come up with 100 websites that say the same thing. Of course, contacting a prospect often requires more than one call, but surprisingly, 50% of leads are never called a second time, even though the data shows that salespeople must be prepared to make up to 6 calls before surrendering. That is 93% of all leads that convert are reached by the 6th call attempt. Are you hearing me? For all of you who roll your eyes and complain and say that you're not going to do that, that you're bugging people, read the stats, okay? The stats don't lie. They tell you over and over again, this is what you're supposed to do. This is your job, okay? So again, 6 call attempt. That's just 7% of leads are converted after a 7 call attempt. Such diminishing returns suggest that 7 more calls are not likely to cost. Maybe, maybe not. Leads that are 7+ calls are initially contacted are 45% less to convert. Well, possibly. All right, so let's look at this. Outlining what is called that optimal call strategy. This is the Leads 360 is one of those sources that is a database essentially. 3 of the 6 calls should be made within the first 2 hours of lead generation. So they're wanting you to call them 3 times in the first 2 hours. Ideally, the first call is placed in under a minute, the second between 30 minutes and an hour, and the third between 1 and 2 hours. Now, guys, I also want to go back to this real quick. I myself have proved, Giovanni himself, we both have proved that with us, we continuously call them. We don't call them every day after the certain many days, to be honest with you. After that, we'll randomly call them. We've got them on a call list every 5 days, and it'll go to every 10 days. And again, Giovanni told you the other day, he had a guy that he had it was an online lead in October. October, guys, it is January. And that is 4 months, okay? There's been a lot more than 7 calls. And guess what? That is a buyer he's working with today. So this is important. Guys, it just works that way. You keep calling until they tell you that, well, I've already got a realtor. Or, my circumstances changed. I'm now renting. Or, I had to re-sign a lease, or I'm decided to move out of the area. Okay, no problem. I'm good with that. The most important thing is that I made the attempt to reach out. The ball wasn't dropped on my end. I want to help you out. You've asked for my help, and I want to be the one to there. All right, anyway, so 3 to 6 calls were made in the first 2 hours. And it says, ideally, the first call is placed in under 1 minute. So again, for all of those who complain about the 5-minute rule, are you looking at what the stats say? The second between 30 minutes and an hour. You can go to NVAR, you can go to VAR. They all say the same thing. In fact, actually, I should pull up their stats because it says 12+ calls convert much higher than the people who convert less than 3 calls. So I'm going to pull that up for you guys. All right, so let's go back to some real estate activities. So what prospecting is: calling past clients, calling people in your sphere, calling expired listing, calling FSBOs, cold calling of listings and sales, knocking on doors, and these all work. Hosting open houses, calling absentee owners, calling cold calling lists. Mailings also work very well. It's a good use of your time to also mail. But listen here: mailing magnets, calendars, and other trinkets. Those little, the recipe things. Again, they're good for establishing relationships, but they're just not good for long, immediate business. It's maybe over the long run, maybe, but in the short term, it's not going to get you anywhere. Setting up a website. You don't make money setting up a website. Joining service organizations. Again, in the long run, you'll make money because you're meeting people. Okay, so anytime you're joining associations and you're networking, you're meeting people, that's going to lead you to business. However, immediately, it's just not going to do anything. Wearing your name badge, it's a very passive approach. It does work, to be honest with you. It's just that, again, it's unless you're out of your house walking around and encountering a lot of people where they're walking the mall, nobody's going to stop and ask you questions. Maybe if you're standing in line, you'll talk to people, but other than that, you have to be in a situation where people are talking. If you wear to a bar or out to dinner or something, you might get, people talk to you. Placing magnet signs on your car. Again, that for me, that's brand recognition. That would be your name if they see it. But you would have to be driving all day, all the time for people to, you know how long it would take for the brand recognition to, again, that's long term. That's not immediate. Sponsoring a community sports team, again, only if you're participating in the sports team where you're getting to know all the people and networking, or maybe your children or your family member is part of that, and you're visiting on a regular basis and getting to know all the sports parents. I mean, we've had a lot of business off of sports parents only because we're attending all of the sports and we're talking to everybody and meeting everyone, and that's what we do. Floor time. Floor time over the long term, again, it's not the proactive. These things are the very proactive way. Answering emails, again, not very proactive. Pinning your business card on bulletin boards, it works a little bit, but again, it's not very proactive. So just remember that. Okay, so these are some of the things. All right, so I'm going to go back to the SOI. So if 60 to 70% of your business is coming from SOI, what do you think 60 to 70% of your marketing efforts should be based on? Again, if this is where a majority of your business is, this is where a majority of your time is. But that does not mean that you should ignore these. 100% you should not be ignoring these. Okay? I use social media as a follow-up. Facebook, LinkedIn, I do get business from it. Not a huge source, but I really use it more of my follow-up system. This is how I keep up with people. It's not really honestly the way to get a lot of business. Don't get me wrong, it does work if you're using the advertising, like the Facebook ads. Those really do work. It's just that you have to, again, follow up and create that relationship with the people. Eventually, over time, to me, the Facebook ads are similar to farms. Over time, they're going to work. Over time, you're going to get business from them. That's why I want you all to do them. But in the meantime, you need to be spending a majority of your time on SOI. This is the reason why I am so dedicated to the peak producers that I want to teach now. I made the commitment for you guys to get, so I paid to get myself certified for you guys. Why? Because if this is where a majority of your business is, I want you to be spending a majority of your marketing time right here. Okay? What does that mean? That means focusing on your database of existing friends, family, past clients, people who are your fans. Building them, training them, appreciating them. I think that's the biggest part. Most people don't appreciate. They're like, oh, well, you haven't referred me anything, so you're nothing to me. I mean, that is a really bad attitude to have. You should be very appreciative, and people love it when you call them just to follow up with them, see how they're doing. I haven't heard from you in a while. Just want to let you know, hey, if you need anything, I'm always here for you. And especially real estate, I certainly love it when you refer me people. I'm trying to jumpstart my 2014 business and would love any help I can get from you there. In the meantime, I'm glad to hear your family's doing great and you're doing well. These are the kind of calls that you need to be making. If you don't have time to do it every month, that's okay. Use Slide Dial. Use Slide Dial because you don't have to talk to them. And remember, don't ask for a call back. But other than that, you really should put a clock in front of yourself and make those phone calls and hope to connect with them. And that's the goal because you want to keep them loyal to you. Okay? So I just wanted to go through this once again, guys, and explain to you once again why I preach the Buffini method because I already know stats will prove that 67% of your business will come from SOI, so you should be spending a lot of your time. At the same time, don't forget these other sources. Don't forget these other sources. They are very effective. They just will not ever be your number one source. So what are you doing today to make sure that your database has people who are your active advocates? They're going to run out and tell the whole world. What are you doing to appreciate, to thank, to teach these people that this is what you need from them? And at the same time, every day building that database to add more and more and more additions. If you're not doing anything and you're relying upon these other, roads, sources of business, then your business is geared for, it's not going to be very successful. So anyway, this is what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys have a great snow day. And at the same time, let's work on increasing your business. Okay, if you have any questions, you know where I'm at. Thanks.